Come on, man. There's no way we're little brother. We're the best team in the history of Florida. Come on, we had Tim Tebow and so many other good players, and now we have DJ Lagway. Could not tell us that we're a little brother to you guys.
Well, we have the greatest college football team ever assembled. 2001, ring a bell? Or better said, 2000. Yeah, remember 2000? We'll do that again to you this year. And just like we did last year, when we drained the swamp, you're going to feel a storm coming.
Wait, what do you mean by that? No!
We had a streak on you guys. A very long streak. 1,000 uniform combinations and 0 national titles. That's pretty insane, don't you think? Duck.
Oh yeah? When was the last time you were ranked number 1? When was the last time you made the college football playoffs? When was the last time you went undefeated in the season and won your conference? Yeah, that's right. 0 national titles, but this is our year. You're coming to Autzen, and you know it never rains in Autzen Stadium, but will rain down points on you.
What? What is that supposed to mean?
Like I said, it never rains in Autzen Stadium, but will rain down points on you.
Man, I hate those guys.
Yo! What is going on, everybody? And welcome to Storm the Field with DJ. I am DJ, and let's get into week 4 of the college football season. But before we do any of that, be sure to like the video, subscribe if you guys enjoy, and make sure you comment down below what you think these games are going to end up in. Will they end up in a win for one team? Will they be a blowout? Will they be close games? Will they be difficult games? What will they be? Let me know down in the comments. Share the video with your friends to grow this community. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the preview video. Alright, so the first game I want to talk about this week is between the Texas Tech Red Raiders and the Utah Utes. Now, this is a 16 versus 17 matchup. Texas Tech is traveling over to Utah for a Big 12 showdown here. We are finally getting into some conference play. So, just to give you guys some of the stats for these two teams. Their season leaders, Morton, which is Texas Tech's quarterback, has over 900 yards already through the air. Devin Dampier has 628 yards through the air this season, but he also leads the team in rushing for the Utes at 198. Hill leads rushing for Texas Tech with 207, so you're very easily seeing a very high-powered air raid offense through Texas Tech. Eakin, Texas Tech's wide receiver, 12 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 245 yards. And then Davis, who is Utah's leading receiver, 19 receptions, 1 touchdown, 171 yards. Looking on the defensive side, you want to look for height for Texas Tech. Their linebacker, he has 2.5 sacks this season. And for Utah, you want to look for Daly, their defensive end. He has 5 sacks in the season. You also want to look out for the other linebacker on Texas Tech. Curry has 15 tackles and leads the entire team, while Daly also leads his team for tackles. So, if you guys watched my college pick'em this week, you know who I picked in this matchup. I picked Utah and Devin Dampier to take care of business against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And yeah, that's about it. I don't got much more to say about this game. Yeah, let's get into the next game. So the next game I want to talk about is another top 25 matchup, and this is a big SEC matchup coming up between the Auburn Tigers and the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, again, going with some of the leaders for these two teams. John Mateer, obviously the quarterback from Washington State, who transferred this offseason to Oklahoma and is playing outstanding. He obviously is the leading passer for the Sooners. 944 yards on 71 completions, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. On Auburn's side, Jackson Arnold has taken a step up. He is 48 of 69 for 501 yards, 4 touchdowns, and get this, no interceptions for Jackson Dart so far in this season. Look out for Auburn's running back, Cobb. He has 46 carries. On those 46 carries, he has 314 yards and 4 touchdowns. Look for Baylock out of Oklahoma, 166 yards on 31 carries and also 3 touchdowns. For Auburn, Singleton is their leading receiver with 13 receptions for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. On Oklahoma side, their tight end, Kanek, 245 yards on 14 receptions. He is a big play type of guy. On the defensive side, for Auburn, you want to look out for Crawford, their defensive end. He has 3 sacks and 16 tackles this season. However, Oklahoma has I don't know how to pronounce his name, Omosayo, who has 1.5 sacks and 14 tackles out of the linebacker position for the Sooners. This matchup, I think, is going to be a very interesting one. I do think Auburn is a lot better than they were last year, and last year they played pretty decently. But I gotta give it to the Sooners, man. I really do think the Sooners absolutely stepped up from last season, especially with John Latier. So I gotta take the Sooners, taking this one probably in a 2-3 score game. And yeah, let's get into the final game before I talk about my games. Alright, now we got a Big Ten Top 20 showdown as the Illinois Fighting Illini are taking on the Indiana Hoosiers. Now, again, let's look at some stats leaders for these two teams. Luke Altmaier, quarterback out of Illinois, 56 of 78 for 709 yards and 8 touchdowns. 1 yard behind him, Fernando Mendoza, the transfer quarterback from Cal, 55 of 76 for 708 yards and 9 touchdowns. On the rushing side of things, Vegan is the running back you want to look out for Illinois. He has 50 carries for 222 yards and 3 touchdowns. For Indiana, the back you want to look out for is Black. He has 34 carries for 217 yards and a touchdown. On the receiving side of things, Beatty is who you want to look out for Illinois. 19 receptions for 289 yards and a touchdown. On Indiana's receiving core, you want to look out for Cooper Jr. 13 receptions for almost 300 yards, 299 to be exact, and 4 touchdowns. Looking at the defensive side of this game, for Illinois, looking in the backfield, you want to be looking for Jackass. He is leading the team in sacks with 3.5. For Indiana, looking in the backfield, you want to look at Jones, their linebacker as well, leading the team with 2 sacks. For overall tackles for Illinois, you want to look out for Hood. He has 14 tackles, which is leading the team. And for Indiana, you want to look out for Moore, the defensive back, who leads the team with 17 tackles this season. So yeah, who do I think is going to come out on top of this game? I think it's going to be the Illini. I do think the Illini will stay and prove their top 10 position this week against Indiana. It's going to be an exciting matchup between them and the Ducks. That's all I can really say about that. But yeah, now let's get into the Civil War. Alright, so now we get into the Civil War. And I will be at this game. This is the last Civil War in this 80-year streak as these two teams play for the final time until 2027. They're taking a year off, hopefully, but the streak of 80 years playing each other is over. The last time this streak was broken was during World War II, so it's been a long time coming. Now, let's get into some of these stats for these two teams. Obviously, the Ducks are 3-0 to start the season, and they are ranked 6th, and Oregon State is 0-3. And obviously not ranked in this Pac-12 conference. Now, looking at some of the players here, Malik Murphy, 76 of 124, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, very high passing yards, in 93. Very high interception ratio, though. It's almost 1-to-1 on touchdowns to interceptions. Dante Moore, however, obviously quarterback for Oregon, 50 of 64 so far, 7 touchdowns, only through 1 interception, which I believe was last week against Northwestern. He has 657 yards in total, and he has only played more or less one entire game, as they only played half the game for 2 games. Obviously, looking at the rushing leaders, Hankerson is going to be the leading rusher for Oregon State, 51 carries for 190 yards and 1 touchdown. On the Oregon side, the leading rusher is not who you would expect. It's Darrell Hill Jr., 11 carries for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. But you don't always look at who's leading, because Noah Whittington and Jordan Lamar are going to be big players in this game for Oregon if they play the entire game. Walker is going to be the leading receiver for Oregon State, 23 receptions for just over 300 yards, 302 to be exact. And for Oregon, you want to look out for Malik Benson, as Decorion Moore may be out for this game against the Beavs. Benson does have 11 receptions for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns, but it really will come to see who is going to be able to play. That's going to be a big factor on who you want to look out for on the receiving core for the Ducks. Now, looking at the defensive side, Mullix, the D lineman for Oregon State, leading the team with 1 sack in total. So, not really scaring me there. Mateo Uyunglele, obviously leading in sacks for the Ducks with 3 this season. Looking at the total tackles, you want to look at Foster, 25 tackles for the Beavs, and leading the Ducks in his 5th year in tackles, Bryce Betcher. So those are some of the stat leaders. I just want to get into a little bit more about this game. This game, obviously, it's a rivalry. Rivalries mean different than any other game. Doesn't matter what your ranking is, you're putting your all into that game, because you get bragging rights for a year. The hatred pouring through these two teams' blood is going to spark you. It's going to keep you going in these rivalry games. So Oregon State's not just going to roll over and take it and take their 4th loss of the season. They're going to fight. But I don't think their fight is enough to keep up with the Ducks. The Ducks are a very fast offense. They are a very high-powered offense. Their defense is pretty good at stopping the run, which seems to be Oregon State's biggest strength, at least considering not having turnovers on the offensive side of the ball. Because if you want yardage, pass the ball, but the interception ratio for Malik Murphy isn't great. But yeah, I really do think the Ducks are going to be able to run away with this game by the end of it. I do think it's going to start out close. I think it will end farther away, and it will seem a lot more of a blowout than it actually was, similar to how USF Alabama was a couple years ago. But I still think the Ducks get it done, and I'm going to say the final score is going to be 36-15. Ducks win it. Don't allow a single touchdown. Only allow the Beavs to get into field goal range. Beavs hit a couple of field goals, 5 to be exact, and the Ducks end up winning it. But yeah, let's get into the game of the week by College Game Day. Or the game that will be College Game Day. It is time for the first game of the Florida Cup this season between the number 4 ranked Miami Hurricanes and the Florida Gators. Miami 0-3, Florida 1-2. Both losses coming to ranked opponents at the time, or not at the time, but they would be eventually in USF and LSU. So let's get into some of these stats leaders for these two teams. DJ Lagway thrown 100 passes to be exact, 71 of them completed, 5 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Thing to note here, 5 of those interceptions were last game against LSU. Just one thing to note, throughout the other games he's been pretty solid. It was just that LSU game that he really did not play well. Carson Beck, 812 yards through the air on 65 completions on 82 attempts, 7 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Again, those 2 interceptions coming against USF last week. Looking at the run game, Boz, who is going to be the Gators' leading rusher, 37 carries for 243 yards and a touchdown. Fletcher, obviously the Miami Hurricanes' leading rusher with 272 yards on 42 carries as well as 4 touchdowns. Excuse me. Vernon Brown III, I believe is his name. Brown III, it might be Vernon, I don't know. Vernell Brown III, leading receiver for Florida, 16 receptions for 197 yards. The leading receiver for the Hurricanes, with 18 receptions, a touchdown, and 228 yards. We have Malachi Toney. Now, leading each team on sacks, Tyreek Sapp leading the Florida Gators in sacks with 1, and Akeem Mesidor leading the Canes with 2. Then Miles Graham, is going to be the leader for the Gators on the defensive side on the tackling with 17 tackles compared to Ruben Bain Jr.'s 15 all season. However, that's not the whole story. Ruben Bain Jr. has been looking like a Heisman candidate. So, what I think this game is going to be. If I'm being honest, I know this is a rivalry game. I think this is going to be exactly like it was last year. Miami will get up to a big start and keep it the entire way. I would have been scared about this game if DJ Lagway had shown that he could play under pressure. He cannot. He has only lost 2 games in his college football career, both of them being in the past 2 weeks to ranked teams. Now you're going up against a number 4 ranked Miami in Hard Rock Stadium. The pressure's going to get to him again. So I think DJ Lagway will once again fold under the pressure, and Miami will take advantage of that and come out with the win. I'm going to give Miami 47 in this game. 47 doesn't make sense. 45. And UF. Ooh. I'm keeping this in the video because you guys can see my thought process. UF gets around a touchdown, maybe 2 field goals. UF 13. I'll give Florida 13, Miami 45 to win this game and keep moving and staying undefeated until we take on the Florida State Seminoles in our next matchup. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like the video, subscribe, and yeah, that's all I gotta say. I bleed orange and green and yellow, and DJ out.